What happens when you use these meatball making scissor gadgets to try cutting the perfect watermelon sphere? Stick around and let's find out. I've got a whole host of new kitchen gadgets to try today, and I'm starting with these peculiar looking scissors. I bought them as meatball making scissors, so let's give them a try. I'm making my own homemade delicious recipe, which I'll share with you later, so stick around. And when it's all mixed together, they're ready to try out. I brushed the inside of each half with some olive oil to help stop the meat from sticking. Then I dived in and took a scoopful. You can see it's kind of bursting out at the seams, so you need to remove any excess. And it's looking pretty good. I popped it out onto a plate, and to be fair, it's made a really good, nicely compacted meatball that sticks together well. I made a load more, and put these on a tray to cook them in the oven. And don't forget I'll be sharing the full recipe for these delicious meatballs later in the video. So how about watermelon? I cut this one in half, and I'm using the smaller sized scissors this time to try and cut a sphere. So the first bite I took out, I just couldn't get any depth. It just took a nibble off the top. Same again. It's too difficult to push the tool in to make a sphere, so this time I'm holding it with a bit more leverage and I'm trying to scoop some out. It's better, but still not very good. So I tried to push really hard to take a big chunk out. But again, it's just no good really. Even when I try biting a piece off a corner, like this, it's still not quite as good as I'd like. Not bad though. I do have one of these small watermelon ball making gadgets, which works like this. It takes a little bit of practice if you haven't used it for a while, but after a few tries, you can make a really cool, nearly perfect little watermelon ball. There's just a little bit of a flat side. So I tried doing something similar with the meatball scissors. I couldn't quite get there to begin with, but eventually I was able to make something which looked really good. Pretty cool, huh? It has got a flat side, so it's not a full sphere, but it is still pretty cool. But if they don't work very well with watermelon, surely ice cream will be a bit easier. I started by heating them up in a cup of warm water, then dug into the ice cream, and it's so much softer than the melon. It just cuts through easily. I used a teaspoon to help it out into a bowl, and I'm pretty pleased with that. I made another couple, and I'd definitely say it worked well, although you could probably just use an ice cream scoop. The next thing we're going to look at is this clever cutter 2-in-1 knife and chopping board scissors. If we open up the handle, it springs open, and it's a bit like a guillotine. We've got this blade that comes down from the top onto this small chopping board at the bottom. The blade feels really sharp, and it's actually a really cool idea. I really like it. So let's see how well it works. I've got a selection of foods here, and let's start with mushrooms. It sliced these really well, no problems at all. I was surprised how accurately it could make these nice thin cuts. Next I tried cucumber, and again it worked really well. It was great fun to use. Then I tried it with carrot, which is a lot harder, but it handled it easily. And the nice thing is, you can cut stuff straight into a pan, or onto a plate. It worked with potatoes, bananas into my breakfast, apples, slicing up onions ready to fry. But because these little spring onions are a bit stringy, it did actually struggle a little bit to cut all the way through. I kind of had to twist the produce a bit to cut through the bottom. And it was a similar thing with tomatoes. I had to slide it up and down the board a little to cut through the skin at the bottom. And the same with these chili peppers. But all in all, I'd say it was a pretty good gadget. The build quality of this one isn't amazing. There's a bit of wobble in the handle, so the blade moves around a little when you're cutting. But that wasn't too much of an issue. And you can detach it in the middle for cleaning. You can lock the back of the handles together to make the blade safe and store it in a drawer. There's a link in the description if you want to buy one. The next gadget I'm looking at are these pizza cutting scissors. And rather than using scissors to open the packet of scissors, I'm using this brilliant slice safety cutter, which I reviewed in a previous video. Just run it across the face of the plastic, and it opens it up easily. So here are the scissors. You can see it's got these 3 little lugs down one of the blades, and this pizza slice shaped metal tray clips on like this. So let's give it a go. I cooked a pizza and went in for the cut. The blades are nice and long and it cut through the pizza easily. And once you've done your second cut, there's your tray for your individual pizza slice. The next slice you take, you can just slide your scissors under the pizza and slice a piece off straight onto the tray. It is quite cool, and it works alright I guess, but I'm not sure how often I'll use it. But one pizza cutter that I do really like is this double-wheeled bike pizza cutter. It's built on a pretty strong plastic frame, it's got a saddle and handlebars, and even comes with its own bike stand. So what's really cool is you can serve it on a chopping board together with a pizza. And when we try it out, it is a bit funny to grip to begin with, but it seems to be doing the job well. And the two wheels help to ensure it cuts all the way through. It's definitely a novelty item, but I really like it, and it would make a great present for anyone who's into their bikes. There's a link in the description if you want to buy one. The next product I'm going to look at is this can opener, which is designed to help anyone who struggles with the ring pulls on food or drinks cans. It's got this sort of swan neck curve to it, and a hook at the front. Let's give it a try. So you slide it under the ring pull, like this, then bend it back to lift up the tab, then push it all forward. And it's opened the drink. That was easy. And on this can of food, you just slide it under the ring pull, then pull back on the handle, and it peels back the top. I was definitely impressed with this gadget. I can see how it would be very useful for some people. But there is a bit of a technique to it. If you pull it up too far, you can just snap off the pull. So it's time for my meatball recipe. I started with 500 grams of minced beef in a bowl. If you like, you could use a mixture of different meats. Then I added a bowl of breadcrumbs, another of finely chopped onions. I beat together a couple of eggs and added that. Then added a bowl of grated Parmesan cheese. And finally some freshly cut coriander, which I cut with my herb slicing gadget. Once you've added all those, start mixing it all together. You could use your hands, but I'm using this spatula to cut it back and forth between the meat. Keep going, and whilst you're mixing it, season it with some salt and pepper. And that's our meatball mix made. I baked them in the oven on a medium heat for 25 minutes, until they were browned and cooked all the way through. Then I transferred them into my pan of tomato sauce. This was a blend of tomatoes, onion, mushrooms, garlic, and some sweet corn. I left them stewing in here for 10 minutes, then served them on a bed of tagliatelle with plenty of sauce. Finally, I drizzled over some olive oil and added some fresh basil. And it's ready to serve. If you want to see more of my kitchen gadget videos, or maybe some cooking or food hacks, you can click on the links. Have fun, stay safe, and as always, thanks for watching.